Get more ways to play on every sport. Baseball, golf, and Canadian football are in full swing. The action starts at Sports Interaction, Canada's sportsbook. Bet before the game starts, live and play, or on one of our many prop bets. Doing it right since 1997, Sports Interaction makes it easy to deposit, easy to play, and easy to cash out. Join now to see all that sports betting has to offer. Head to sportsinteraction.com/SDPN. That's sportsinteraction.com/SDPN. 19 plus, please play responsibly. Hey, it's summertime, and you need to get into the world's most comfortable pants and shorts. Doer.ca and use that promo code SDPN15 for 15% off your first order. Doer guarantees that these are the most comfortable pants in the world. And they are. You can use them on a bike, you can use them in the office, or you can use them out at a casual event. They look great, they feel great, and they move really well. And pants aren't all that Doer does. They do a ton of other things you'll want to definitely check out. Great styles in men's and women's. Go to Doer.ca and use that promo code again. It's SDPN15 to check out Doer.
This is Agent Provocateur with Allan Walsh and Adam Wylde. Powered by Sports Interaction, Canada's sportsbook.
Welcome to another episode of Agent Provocateur. I'm Allan Walsh with Adam Wylde. How are you, Adam?
I'm good. I'm at my girlfriend's cottage right now, so I'm out on the screened-in porch. I'm really good. I'm happy, and I'm excited for draft week in Montreal. We're going to see you there. We're going to see David Jiříček there, who you're going to talk about in a second. Our big SDPN bash is this week as well, so it's kind of neat. I've never experienced a draft before.
Really? You've never been to the draft until this
is going to be kind of exciting for me. Yeah, never.
Wow.
No. So it's I don't know what to expect. So I'm hoping that this episode is illuminating a little bit because I hear it's just a blast.
Well, it's actually a really stressful time for me.
I'm sure it is. Sorry, it's great for the rest of us.
Well, you just have a lot of stuff going on at the same time because you're working on deals with impending free agents.
Right.
You're preparing other free agents to go to the open market. Mm-hmm. And I mean, free agency opens July 13th. It's just a few days after the draft. There's everybody together in Montreal and then everybody scatters. So it's a busy, stressful time. You've got all the players that you represent in town and their families. Players usually have a lot of interviews the day or two before the draft. For example, our guest this week, David Jiříček, has over 10 interviews on the Tuesday, Wednesday, and early Thursday morning. And those are going to be with the general managers, assistant general managers, and usually a contingent of scouts on all of those teams. They have conference rooms at their headquarter hotel, and the player will go in sometimes for 30 minutes, sometimes for an hour. And you know, you've got to schedule all those interviews, move them around to the different hotels. Mm-hmm. So there's a certain element of stress keeping people on schedule and keeping all of that going well. So it's a fun week. It is. Mm-hmm. The best time is being able to celebrate with players and their families after seeing players get drafted. But this is going to be my 27th draft since I entered the business, and over the years accumulated a lot of stories and interesting and fun tidbits that I'm ready to share with some people today.
So now are the names redacted to protect the innocent and non-innocent here, or how are we going to do this? Are you telling stories with names attached?
Sometimes.
Okay.
I think there's a few stories I can include a name on.
Okay.
Why don't we start with the year Jonathan Drouin went third overall to the Tampa Bay Lightning.
It's a big year.
I'm sitting with Joe and his family, and he gets drafted by Steve Yzerman, the GM at Tampa, up on the podium with Julien Brisebois and all their scouts. Jonathan goes to the stage, poses for his photo with everybody up there. And he then goes, the players drafted in the first round are then taken to do media. First, they answer questions with the broadcast media, and then they go backstage, so to speak. And there's a area set up for the just drafted player to have a media availability with a wider group. And the team had returned to the table, and Julien Brisebois, who at the time, current Tampa GM at the time, he was assistant GM, texted me, congrats. And then I text him back, when do you want to talk about a contract? Ha, ha, ha. And Julien gets up, and they're on the 4th pick right now.
Okay.
Joe was 3rd. And he walks up the stairs to where we're sitting. And he says to me, do you want to get the deal done now? And I said, sure. The signing bonus was capped. The NHL salary was capped. The American League salary was capped. And obviously at 3rd overall, you're getting the maximum. There are what's called A performance bonuses, which at the time were capped at $850,000. And they offered that right up front. And I happen to have represented the number 3 overall pick the prior year, who was Jonathan Huberdeau. And in the B performance package, Huberdeau had signed for B bonuses of $1,450,000 maximum attainable per year. So he said to me, since you did Huberdeau's deal and he was 3rd overall, we'll give you the same deal you did for Jonathan Huberdeau last year.
Okay.
And I said, sure. He's like, okay, we have a deal. The 4th overall pick had just been selected. Julien went back down to the table. I saw him speak to Steve. And by the 6th pick, he's walking up the stairs again back to me with the contract. And he goes, here you go. I said, well, I have to talk to Jonathan and his parents when we get back to the hotel. But pending their approval, which I'm certainly expecting, we'll have a deal. He's like, yeah, okay, great. So Jonathan Drouin was actually signed, drafted 3rd and signed between the 4th and 5th pick overall as the draft was going on.
Wow. Is that the only time that's ever happened, Allan? For you?
I've never signed a player that fast. I've signed players a day or two after the draft, but never had a player drafted 3rd who signs between the 5th and 6th pick.
You might not be able to answer this question, but it seems to speak to the Lightning organization's expedience on things. It seems like when they want things done, they're organized and they get things done. Is that fair? Because it's that just seems to be the rep around the league. Am I wrong on that one?
No, it's just like, hey, we're going to sign the player.
Yeah,
we're all here now. Why wait? It makes perfect sense.
Perfect.
It's just not usually done.
Well, I love it. Hopefully that happens for Mr. Jiricek coming on later.
Yeah, that would be nice.
That would be great. Yeah. What else you got for us?
So there was another time, this is many years ago. I'm a younger agent and I have a player ranked to go somewhere at the end of the 1st to mid-2nd round. And he's sitting next to me with his family, and around 20th overall. You know, the draft moves very slow. And around 20, he's like doing this and his legs going up and down. And I leaned over and I said, are you nervous? He's like, no, I have to pee. He's like, can I go to the bathroom? And I'm like, no. I said, like, you know, like you could get drafted and the camera will focus on an empty seat. You know, they take a quick break between the first and second round. Back then, they did the whole draft in one shot. There was no first round one day and the rest of the draft the next. So he's like, okay, I'll be okay. By 25, he's going, Allan, I really got to go pee. I go, listen, we're at 25, looking at the teams. You could go any one of these picks. You can't go anywhere. Okay. We're going 28, 29. I think at that time there were 30 teams, 29 or 30 teams in the NHL, without some of the expansion teams. Finally, we get to the end of the first round, and I'm like, okay, first round's over, but we're coming back in 5 minutes. Come back. He's like, yeah. He bolts up the stairs, gone. And I'm just waiting, you know, and they take the break, and they call the draft back to order, and they're starting in the second round. Oh. He's still not back. Oh, first pick goes, second pick goes, third pick goes, four. And I'm like, where is he? Fifth pick in the second round. I hear his name called. All right. And he's not there. And I'm like, where is this guy? And I look back, and he just came through the big archway at the top of the section, holding a hot dog, going, hey! And comes running down the stairs. And I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, do I go? I go, give me the hot dog.
Yeah, get out of here. Get out of here. What he did. Amazing. Yeah. Good timing. Really good timing.
Yeah. And another year, I had somebody I knew working the technical side of the broadcast.
Okay.
And what happens is, every team has a computer at their draft table, and they're logged into NHL Central Registry. And the team actually types in the name of their pick. It goes to Central Registry, and they give the thumbs up. And then the team stands up, the whole group at the table. Mm-hmm. Sometimes it's the owner there as well. And they all go up to the stage to announce the pick. When Central Registry gives the thumbs up, the name also goes into the broadcaster's ears. So they all know who's being drafted about a minute before the pick is announced. And it also goes to other people on the technical side, operating cameras and doing things behind the scenes. So I'm sitting there and I'm getting a text message about a minute before the player's name is announced of who's being drafted. And I'm sitting there live, and I have players around me, and I've got parents, and I've got people who work with me. So I decide, and I don't tell anybody I have this, right? So I decide around the 10th pick to have a little bit of fun. So I go to the person sitting next to me who's worked with me for a long time, and I go, you know the draft pretty well? He goes, yeah. I said, who do you think is going to be drafted next? He's like, oh, I don't know. And he gives me a name. So I look at my phone and I give him the right name, and that player goes and gets drafted. And he's like, wow, that's pretty good. So yeah, the next team is up. I go, hey, I think this guy's going next. Boom. I give him the name. Boom. The guy gets drafted a minute later. He's like, wow, that's pretty amazing. And I am now 5 for 5. And he's going, hey, everybody, this is incredible. Allan has predicted the last 5 picks in a row. So like everybody's kind of huddled around, trying to, and players and everybody. And I look at my phone again and I got the next name and I give the name. Boom. We're at number 20 now. And I'm 10 for 10. And everybody is freaking out. Nobody can understand like how I could get 10 in a row, and now we're at 21, 22, and I'm banging them off 21, 22, and went through the entire first round. And when I started doing it around 24, 25, I'm making a show of it now. I'm like, this is getting real hard. Hold on a second. And I was going like this. I'm like, I got it. And I give the name and boom, that guy gets drafted. So
that's amazing. Did they find you out or did you just let them feel or let them think?
I finally had to tell him afterwards. I was getting the names one or 2 minutes before they were drafting. Yeah. I'll give you one more story.
Please do.
The year Yaroslav Halak got drafted. And this gives you an idea of the unpredictability of the draft. Mm-hmm. So Yarrow ended up getting drafted in the 9th round by the Montreal Canadiens. Okay. There isn't even a 9th round anymore, right? And after the draft, 2 scouts from the Minnesota Wild came up to me and they said, Halak to Montreal, huh? I said, yeah. They said, did you see what happened at our table? I said, no. They said, well, we had focused for our 6th round pick to draft a goalie. And we had 2 goalies in the wheelhouse to pick. And one of them was Yarrow. And we ended up getting into an argument at our table between Yarrow and the other goalie. And we're going back and forth, and it's getting a little heated. There were some scouts at the table who really believed we should be drafting Yarrow. And there were others who equally forcefully believed they should be drafting the other guy. Mm-hmm. And finally, the GM at the time goes, all right, I've heard enough. I got to knock this shit off. Who's the taller goalie? And they said, well, the other guy. That's our pick. Go draft him. So they ended up drafting this goalie who was 6'3", who never signed an NHL contract, never played a game in the NHL or the American League. And Yaroslav Halak, drafted in the 9th round, is approaching 300 NHL wins.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Allan, it's hard to believe. And I think a lot of people got some insight in this with like a movie like Moneyball. What goes into scouting and what goes on at those tables. I've heard that those tables can be pretty contentious and, everybody's all dressed up and it's supposed to be celebratory, but I've heard of some arguments on that draft floor before.
Oh yeah. Big time. And there've been some legendary battles at the table over different players. Usually happens more in an earlier round. Okay. Certainly not the first round, but when you get to I think the first round, the battles are not going to be at the table. They're going to be in the room in the weeks leading up to the draft. But in the mid to later rounds, there are scouts who believe they found a jewel in the rough and they want to take him. And there could be pushback and there could be a lot of back and forth at the table.
Wow. And let me ask you this, because I want to go back to something you said earlier about what David Jiříček's schedule is going to be. You said you got 10 interviews. A lot of people are going to hear that and go, well, didn't these teams do their homework? Like, didn't Could they not have linked them up on Zoom? Or why so many interviews in the last few days? What more could these teams want to know? Or have they even reached out?
I think that every team that is scheduled to meet with David in Montreal in person the week of the draft has already interviewed him. And sometimes he's been interviewed multiple times, but he may have been only interviewed by the chief scout or by the Czech scouts.
Okay.
And this is an opportunity to come in. Sometimes the owner is sitting in on these meetings, the team president, general manager, all the assistant general managers. So many teams have already done GM, assistant GM, and scout Zoom calls with players, but this is an opportunity to sit and meet face to face, spend an extra half hour with the player. And I'm sure they're meeting with all the players that they have ranked in their wheelhouse, So if you're New Jersey or Arizona or Buffalo or Philadelphia, Columbus, you're going to probably interview, 8 to 10 guys,
right,
who are all in that, realm of possibilities. Wow.
I mean, listen, if you forget sometimes that these guys are 17 or 18 years old too, right? That's that many interviews, just interviewing for a normal job in your 30s is something. But, when you prep a prospect for that, I mean, you've had guys, you just said you had 2 third overalls in a row in Huberdeau and Drouin. What do you say to those guys? How do you prep them for interviews like that? Because it's got to be stressful, a bit of a carousel for a kid, essentially.
I think the biggest mistake you can make as an agent is to send players into interviews with canned, rehearsed answers. I think it's fairly transparent when you have people on the other side experienced in interviewing draft prospects year after year after year, to be given cliched, canned answers. It defeats the whole purpose. I think it makes the player ultimately look bad.
Right.
So I say to the player, listen, go in there, answer every question to the best of your ability, be honest. Yes, here are some, before their first few interviews, here are some typical questions that get asked. They'll ask you questions about your family, about growing up, your background, where you played minor hockey. Do you have any brothers and sisters? How many? What do they, what does your mom and dad do? Do they work outside the home? But mainly biographical stuff. But when they get into the hockey stuff, there's no real preparation by saying, okay, here's what's going to be asked, and this is the way I want you to answer. Maybe there's people who do that. I don't do that. And I think ultimately it's wasting people's time. And it's fairly transparent that you're not getting the player's answer. You're getting the agent's answer for the player. Right.
Okay. And that makes that can make a huge difference with an organization, right? They want the real.
Sure.
So Allan, who are we about to bring on here?
So we're going to bring on David Jiříček, who is a noted Allan Walsh client. He's ranked, depending on who you speak to, either the first or the second defenseman available in the draft. He's one of the top prospects. He probably can go anywhere from 2 to 8 or 9. That's his range in the first round. He's a 6'3", 6'4", smooth skating defenseman, known for his shot and his propensity for open ice hits. He's He's hungry. It's so much fun working with young kids like this and getting to know them and getting to know their families. It's the beginning of the relationship. I started like this with almost every player I represent. And we look back on these days when the player is in his 30s, married with kids, and laugh about the different things that happened. So it's just going back and starting the cycle all over again. So we're going to bring him on. We're going to do an interview with him. It's the first time I've ever interviewed my own client before the NHL draft. It's something new and different for me as well. And I hope everybody enjoys it.
All right, let's get to it.
Let's do it. Our guest today is one of the top-ranked prospects for the NHL draft this year, coming up in a few days. He's a 6'3", smooth skating right shot defenseman, hailing from Katowice, Czech Republic, known for his booming shot and propensity for open ice hits. This season, with HC Pilsen in the Czech Extraliga. In 29 games, he had 5 goals, 6 assists, 11 points. That's the Czech Men's Pro League. Let's give a big welcome to David Jiříček.
Thank you for coming. Thank you. Thank you, Alan.
How's it going, David?
Great. And you?
Very good. Very good. I should say in the introduction, noted Allan Walsh client.
That's right.
Because
very important.
Because full disclosure, we all work together. And I thought with the NHL draft coming up, this would be a great opportunity for everyone to get to hear from you and learn a little bit about who you are, what kind of player you are. So I have some questions for you with Adam. Mm-hmm. How do you feel about going forward and diving in and getting through some questions?
I'm ready for that, so we can go.
Okay. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your background? How did you start playing hockey? Who brought you to the game? Where you played growing up? Why don't you start there?
I think if I had 3 years old, first time my dad bring me to stadium, and first steps on the ice was in Katowice. So I think I cry a little bit. I think I cried a little bit. So tough.
Me too. Same with me. Me too. But I didn't make it as far as you have.
Tough start for me, but I love hockey now. So.
Mm-hmm. And were you a defenseman from the very beginning?
I was forward to 13 years old. I was forward, and then I moved to Pilsen, and there I was D-man.
Okay. When you were younger, were you always one of the tallest people with your age group, or were you smaller and grow later?
I grew up, I think, at 14, 15 years old. So I am not the tallest. But this, I don't know, maybe 14, 15 centimeters for 1 year. So,
wow. So I started going, as you know, to Czech Republic. My first time was around 1996, 1997. And when I was
on here.
It was way before you, David. And when I started going over there, no one spoke any English at all. It was very rare, especially the younger players. They had no ability to speak English at all. It was always using translators to communicate with each other. Where did you learn to speak English?
Because we were in communism, so we learned Russian or German's language. So,
yep.
And then after revolution there, we started to learn English a little bit, and I learned with one guy, David Jiříček. I say hello because he helped me a lot with English. We call each other 30 minutes two times in a week. I don't know, 1.5 years. So
wow.
That's tough for me because I had school this English lessons and hockey. So for me, I don't have so much free time,
Right. Can you describe for us what kind of defenseman are you? What are your strengths? And what are the things you need to improve on most?
I think I need to improve my strength, because I'm tall, but I don't have a lot of muscles for North America, for small rinks, more fighting than in Europe. So I think my strength is my weakness. And something with D zone, one-on-one fighting on the boards. I think that's my weaknesses.
Okay, Adam.
So you're about to get on a plane and come over to North America and get drafted. Has that sunk in yet? Are you nervous?
All family a little bit nervous because
yeah, is your whole family?
Yeah. My little brother and parents.
Wow. Okay.
David, as part of the NHL draft process, you've had lots of interviews with NHL teams. How many interviews have you had so far?
I don't know, maybe 20 face-to-face with European scouts, and I think maybe 10 in Zoom with all our organization, and of course in Montreal we will have some interviews there.
Yeah, we have about 10 interviews scheduled in Montreal over 1.5 days. What are those interviews like for a top player ranked in the draft? What kind of questions are asked of you in those interviews?
My weakness is my strengths in the game, but I think everything will be some same. Maybe my hometown. Something about my journey to Pilsen to Czech national team. So that's question.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so there's one team in the past that has asked players in the interviews if they were a dog, what kind of dog would they be? Have you had any really strange or weird questions that you remember from any team?
Maybe one weird question was what kind of animal do you like to be? So
and what did you answer?
Tiger or something like that.
Good answer. That's a good answer. Yeah.
One NHL scout told me that you have the hardest shot of any player in the draft this year. And he called it a bomb. And you've been known for your shot
You know,
It is a
Been
bomb.
known.
It's a bomb.
It is a bomb.
I like that.
Did you always have a bomb, or is it something that you developed over the years? How did you learn to shoot the puck like that?
Maybe it is naturally, you know, because I don't know some special drills for slap shot or something like that. I don't have it, so I need to shoot on 100% and score a goal.
Another scout said to me that you are a fluid, smooth skater who carries the puck with poise, and that you're very calm when you carry the puck. Tell us about that. Do you feel comfortable when you're skating with the puck?
Yeah, I feel comfortable because my coaches said to me, play with the puck, make some different pass than other guys. So I want to play with the puck to find difficult passes, you know, great assists, nice assists. That's my game.
Okay, so at the World Juniors this year in Edmonton that got postponed and is going to be played again in August, you injured your knee and you ended up needing surgery and missed half of your season rehabilitating from surgery. Could you tell us what that was like for you?
It was tough for me, but I had good rehab. I was every morning in the gym and then 30 minutes on the ice without puck. So tough for me because it was hard to get back to be stronger than before surgery. So tough for me, but I want to be back and play some games this season.
And you ended up coming back in a big way. You played with the Czech national team, the men, at the World Championships. One of the youngest defensemen to ever play for the Czech national team with the men. What was that like for you?
I'm youngest scorer in Czech national team.
Yes, you're the youngest defenseman to ever score a goal with the Czech national team. Yeah. Yeah.
You know who is first? Who is first? Favorite? Jaromir Jagr is first.
Jaromir Jagr. But David, he's not a defenseman.
That's right.
Yeah, I know. I know. But in every Czech national team, you know.
And I'm so old, I was probably there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm a little bit nervous because Jagr played 1,000 games and in NHL. So
you have big shoes to fit into. Yeah. You know, one year, Martin Havlat, I want to get this right. He won a gold medal at the World Junior Championships and a gold medal at the World Championships with the men in the same year.
Wow.
Maybe I will be same. I hope so.
That would be good. That would be good. Well,
talk to us a little bit about your work in the gym and some of your training. What are you doing in the gym right now? And tell us a little bit about how you train and what you do.
I'm training right now with Dominic Kodras. He's my strength coach. He works with Czech national team, so that's great for me. Great guy. We are good friends. So 3 weeks I train with him, and after draft we will see what happens, because then will be maybe development camp and World Championship. So tough summer for me.
It's a big summer for you.
Busy summer.
Yeah.
So when you were growing up, did you have a favorite NHL team?
I want to win. There's more Czech players. I want to win that team.
Okay.
Yeah. And did you have a favorite player that you looked up to and said, I want to be like that?
No. I want to be Jiricek. I want to have my own style, so I don't have any idol. Jagr. That's more than president in Czech Republic. So, but I don't have any idol.
Okay. Wow. I like that. Some confidence, David.
Yeah. I don't have confidence. I don't know.
Oh, get out of here. Well, that's very, very cool. Listen, it's a big week for you, and you're kind of, I don't know, Allan, I don't know what kind of poise you normally expect from people David's age at this time of the year, but seems pretty okay, pretty comfortable.
Yep. A lot of scouts and even some general managers have called me after your Zoom interviews over the last few weeks, and they've told me they really enjoyed talking to you, really enjoyed your answers, and were very impressed with how you speak English, because many players still from Czech Republic at your age don't speak much English, but you're always willing to try. And David, trust me, your English is much better than my Czech. Yeah.
So Czech English is very difficult.
Yes.
So.
Very difficult. Yeah. So David, listen, thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate it. I look forward to seeing you Tuesday in Montreal and having a great draft week in Montreal with you and your whole family.
Thank you very much, and have a good day, guys.
Thank you, Dave. Good luck.
Yeah, good luck.
This has been Agent Provocateur with Allan Walsh and Adam Wylde. Powered by Sports Interaction, Canada's sportsbook. Follow Allan Walsh on Twitter @WalshA. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts by searching Agent Provocateur and hitting the subscribe button. YouTube.com/SDPN.